Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Genesis, and if you don't know, I love 3D printing. So today we're going to talk about something a little different, doing more of a talking head type of video. But today's video, I just wanted to talk to you guys about what got me into 3D printing, why I do so much 3D printing, and just how this all came to be. For those of you that haven't seen the short that I uploaded earlier, yesterday, last night, whatever, my video this week was going to be very different. I was actually going to give you guys a first look at the Hagears Ultracraft Reflex RS machine, but sadly I came down with some sort of 24-hour bug. I was not able to film that video yesterday, but I still wanted to have something to go online and for you guys to see. This was a video I had planned for later down the road, but things happened and now here we are. So, with that all being said, I'd like to talk to you guys about how I got into 3D printing and why. And that goes back about 13 years before I started 3D printing or even knew what 3D printing was. I worked for a company called Gemini Incorporated. I was there for about 13 and a half years. I ran lasers, water jets, routers, mini mills. I ran sand recyclers. I did just about everything. CNC, if it's ran by G-Code, I've probably done it, and then a little extra. In 2019, in August of 2019, I left Gemini Incorporated to go work for a company called Superior Signs. When I left to go to Superior, I went, for what most people go for, more money. And I was there from August of 2019 till about March, April of 2020. We all know what happened in 2020. So, being that I was the last guy hired, I was the first guy shipped out. It was very disheartening. I was furloughed first, and during that furlough time, during the time of transition of just trying to figure out what I was going to do, because still needed money coming in. Yeah, I was getting the unemployment and all that. I had to figure something out. And my mom had seen something online that she wanted me to 3D print. I have never actually made that for her. But anyway, so she bought me an Ender 3 so I could make her this Magic Band reader that she wanted, because I thought I would be able to do it. And at the time, I truly believed I could, but it was beyond my skills then. It's probably something within my skill set now. However, the machine came, I got it running, started working with it, started 3D printing just different little things, trying to just learn this thing, right? There were days where I spent hours in the basement cussing at the machine because I couldn't get it to level right. I finally learned the machine, started getting them running well, getting it running well. I had one Ender 3 at the time. And somebody gave a really good idea on one of my Facebook groups saying that during these COVID times that someone should start 3D printing longer hair clipper guards. Because people were obviously going home and cutting their own hair, right? My hair is a mess. I thought that was a really good idea, so I jumped on it and I started making hair clipper guards that were between 1.25 to 2 inches long, and on custom orders 4 and 5 inches long. I ran off of hair clipper guards for 1.5 years without having to go back to work, without even having to rely on the unemployment or the other BS from the government, any grants, special craps, whatever. In fact, it got to a point where my mom saw that I was struggling to keep up with orders and bought me a second printer. Gotta love your mama. About another month or so in, I used a lot of that extra money that I had to buy 2 more Ender 3s. That wasn't really a lot of extra money, let's call it what it is. An Ender 3 is not an expensive machine. And I ran on 4 Ender 3s making hair clipper guards for 1.5 years. That's 1.5 years that I got to spend with my daughter, going to the post office, having her be my little helper. That's 1.5 years of being home with my wife and my family every night. That's 1.5 years of doing something that I really had grown to love doing. during that time, I'd learned about things like resin 3D printing from guys like Uncle Jesse through their YouTube videos and whatnot. And I said to myself, this is a really cool technology. So I got my first Elegoo Mars. Literally, the first Elegoo Mars. Elegoo Mars 1, the original. And I'd started just doing little trinkets, things were like little Mando, the Mythosaur skulls. I started doing those, and I was spray painting them silver and then a bone color with a little bit of a wash, and making little necklaces out of them and selling those. During that time, I had discovered Hex 3D's Patreon. Hex 3D was doing the Grogu's at the time. If you recall, he had Grogu's as Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers. He had Ghostbuster Grogu's. He had RoboCop Grogu's. He had a Goku Grogu. Goku Grogu. But it was some really cool files at the time. And I absolutely loved his Patreon for years. I stayed with him for about 3 years, mostly doing Grogu's. Now, I had not gotten into painting statues or anything like that yet. So I was selling raw, like, custom kits on Etsy. Well, somebody had bought one of the raw custom Joker Grogu kits. And as people do, they don't read their listings. They realized later that, oh my gosh, this is not painted. This is a kit that I bought. And I told him, I was like, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'll paint it. And this is where painting the Grogu's began. I look back at my original paint jobs, my earliest Grogu's to my last Grogu's, and I think to myself, I can't believe anybody bought that. I look at my statues now and I realize how far I've come. And I'm not patting myself on the back or bragging. It's just kind of one of those things where I'm like, I get to make some really cool stuff. And I enjoy doing it. Now, of course, I currently work for a local grocery store as well, part-time. And that's a bit of a struggle for me, a little bit emotionally, because I want this to be my full-time gig. I want 3D printing to be my full-time gig, and I'm working really hard at doing that. It's why I'm sticking so hard to social media and YouTube and making shorts, making weekly videos, making TikToks, this, that, and the other thing, because I want people to see that I love this stuff and that I can just carve out my own little corner of the internet and hopefully get somewhat of a following and a Patreon going. I have a Patreon, but I've really pushed too hard into it yet. I really need to get back on that and hopefully start building a following. I don't want fans or anything like that. I just want people who enjoy my content to come and watch it, comment, like, etc. I started doing conventions in 2021. I did my first convention, which was Fredericksburg Comic-Con. I had 3 painted items and a bunch of junk. I'll tell you, I printed a bunch of junk. I didn't realize I was printing junk, but I printed junk. I had 3 Grogu's. I had a Michael Myers, a Jason, and a Hannibal Lecter, I believe. And I sold them very quickly. The other stuff just kind of lingered and didn't really sell. And I was kind of thinking to myself that FDM printing might not be what's best for conventions. In fact, I kind of backed off of it for conventions for my next show, which was Tidewater Horror. And I said to myself, after doing Tidewater Horror, and I had like 50 Grogu's, we sold just about all of them. It was great. After Tidewater Horror, I said to myself, I can do this. So I went and I applied for GalaxyCon Richmond. And I got in. And I applied then for GalaxyCon Raleigh. And I got in. I was amazed that I got into these things. These are big time conventions. I love these shows. There's 60, 70,000 people in the building at any given time. And GalaxyCon has been a big help for me, being in such a large space, having so many customers around. But I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about how I should display my tables. I've learned a lot about how I should sell, all of that. But anyway, that's just kind of how I got into 3D printing, what made me get into doing things like this, to jump into this YouTube thing, to jump into the TikTok thing, to jump into the social media thing so hard. And I'm looking forward to 2026 as being the year where I can say I did it. And I can walk out proudly with a 2-week notice and confidence that I can do this. Because I really believe that I can. And I believe that anybody else can too if they just put their mind to it and pay attention to what sells and who they're selling to. Because once you find the right audience and you zero in on that niche, you really start to kill it. Anyway, that was the video, guys. If you found my story even remotely uplifting or inspiring or whatever, let me know. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Next week, we are going to be taking that first look at the Ultracraft Reflex RS, okay? Promise. Leave me a comment. Don't forget to subscribe.